Welcome again. I just wanted to finish off the TileMapLayer discussion. This is part 3, but there's so much more to learn. But I just want to close this off and just mention a few small things. If you play around with TileMapLayer, you'll see some other things that you can probably delve more deeply into. And I'll just mention a few little things that I wanted to point out. The first thing that I want to mention is let's just choose a tile map layer here. It doesn't matter which one. I'm choosing my twinkle layer. And in the right hand side in the inspector, on the tile set, if I right click tile set, you'll see there's save and save as. The difference is if you click save, nothing will happen right now. As you can see, there's nothing saved anywhere. I may have to go through all these to prove that. Reason being, what we have to first time we're saving a tile map layer, this is if you want to give it a unique name or save it for another scene, we have to use save as, give it a place to save, and let's just save it here for now anyway, it doesn't matter. We can also add a folder, and let's name this twinkle and save. Now if I make any changes to the tile set here and I click save, it will update any changes. But before there was no file for it to update. So save as is the first option you use when you want to create a new file, in this case our TRES, and save is just to update any changes. Let me just save this whole scene, and I'm switching to my town scene where I have many other tiles that I can use. I'm switching to my tall trees layer, tile map layer on the scene view here on the top left hand side, and let me just widen this a bit, and I'm going to go down. I'm going to show alternative tiles. Now alternative tiles are basically using the tiles that you already have, and you're just going to make alternates of them, and you can use these alternates for different things like visual changes, collision changes, navigation changes, basically whatever you see in the window that I'm about to show you. So let's go to Tileset, and in Tileset, let me just zoom in a bit again. Let's say I want to choose this tree, so I'm going to click select and click this tree and right click it and create alternative tile. Now we'll see that a tile comes up and it's already selected here. There's a white border around it. If I select this, there's a green border around it and the white border goes away here. So let me just select our alternate tile. Let's just say I want to change something about this tile, like let's modulate it to make it more red maybe. Let's remove some of the green, and this will be my alternate tree. As you can see in the alternate tiles here, I can do many of these. I can always add more alternates. And as I said, anything that you see in the under this window here, you can change and make an alternate tile. For example, we could put different materials, different z-index, different sorting, even physics. If we have physics layers or navigation layers will show up if we had a navigation layer, and we can just change our physics layer for this. Let me just create another one. Right click, create alternative tile, and let's flip it on the vertical, and on the right hand side here you'll see we have an upside down tree. Let's create another alternative, and in this one let's change the physics layer. We'll go down and change the physics layer, so we can click the three dots here and let's reset the default tile shape. Make sure this is selected on the side here, and I don't know, let's just make some arbitrary shape. Yeah, let's leave it at that and make sure it's updated in here. Great, and let's save this. So now we have a new tile map with alternate tiles for that particular selection, as you can see here. Okay, so let's just select these tiles here. I'm going to select all the base tiles plus the alternative tiles. So I'm just going to click shift and click every one of these, and now I have them selected, and let me just drag this down here a bit. And I'm just going to place some random tiles. Don't forget to take off your eraser tool if you had it on. And I'm just going to paint. And let me just paint around here. And I'm going to fill this area. And I can zoom in now. And you can see that we have normal trees. We have upside down trees as well, like over here. Let me just turn off painting. Right, we have upside down trees like over here and here. We can't really see the ones with the different collision layers, but we can go into, on the right hand side, under Tileset, under physics, and where it says, let me just widen this, where it says collision visibility, let's change that to force show, and now we can actually see the collisions. You can see the weird trapezoid shape that I put here for the collision, and then you have the normal collision for the other trees, that the base tiles that we had before, and we have our modulated trees that I didn't put a collision for. We have the upside down tree that has no collision in it either. So this is what alternative tiles are for. You can, of course, you can just paint single tiles if you like. Don't have to paint random tiles like I did. I can just put a line here and just draw a line of modulated red trees if I like. And that's how you use alternative tiles. Pretty cool. Okay, I took a little bit here of removing the alternate tiles that we had here before. I want to speak a little bit about animation. And to do that, let me get some tile sets that you go into itch.io, and in the search bar you search Smoke FX. You'll see free Smoke FX Pixel 2. Click on it, and it will take you to a page that has free smoke sprite sheets, and you could download these sprite sheets and use them in your project. I'll download it and import it in my project. As you can see here, we have the unzipped files. We don't need the GIF files. What we really want are the PNG files. You can choose any one you like. I'm just going to choose, let's say this one, Free Smoke FX Pixel 5, and let's just drag it across to our artwork. Great, let's close this off. If we go into artwork now, we'll see that we have the Free Smoke Pixel here. We can double click it and see what it looks like. Good. So let's create a new tilemap layer just for this. I'm just going to click environment, add tilemap layer, and we're going to name this effects or smoke or something. Let me just put smoke. It may not be the best effect for this actual map that we made, but I just wanted one to show how to use it. So this is our smoke layer. On the tile set here, click tile set, add tile set. This is actually supposed to show tile set here, but let's just navigate out and navigate back in, and there we go. Tile set is shown here now. Let's just move this up a bit, and we can drag our free smoke, and I think it's cut equally, so let's just click yes. If not, we'll just fix it accordingly. We need to change our sizes. Okay, if we zoom in here, I should have checked the documentation and see what size it was before I started this, but let's zoom in, and it looks like this is maybe quarter the size that it should have been. I would say maybe 64 by 64, because this is 16. One of these tiles is 16, and it's 4 of these tiles seem to make up a full smoke tile. So 16 by 4 is 64. So let's change this to 64. And as you can see, it encompasses a full tile, which is good. And let's change our tile size to 64 by 64. And of course, you know we're going to have some errors here, as evidenced by this exclamation mark here. So just click this and remove outside texture, and that's cleaned up there. Let's erase everything. Let's control and erase. Yeah. Great. For animation, and this is something you need to remember, when I now started doing animation with these tiles, I got confused so badly. I didn't know what to do. I selected all like we do with the tile map layers that we did before, but that's not how we do animation with these. So what we have to do is we have to click the first one. Let's go into select tool and select the first one. You go down here, we'll see an animation drop down. Let's drop down that animation, and it can ask you for all these things here. You can change how many columns your animation is in case there are several columns, and whatever separation and so on. You can also change the speed if you want it to be slower or faster. The mode is either default, where they all start at the same time, or you have random start times when you paste on your animations, that is. Let's leave it as is for now so you can see what it's like. Remember this, we're only choosing the first tile that we want for our animation. And then we go into frames, change the duration here. Let's leave it at 1 second. If you don't, you can change them separately afterwards, but if you change the 1 second here, they'll all be added at 1 second, and just click add element. And you see it adds a tile to the right. You see it here in the preview. Let's add another one, and we keep on adding like that. Add element, add element. Keep on doing that until we have all the tiles that we want for our animation. I think that should be it. I can add the last one. Let's zoom in and see if it has anything in it. We can leave it. It's as if the smoke had disappeared completely. If I had selected several columns here, I could probably go down. So now that we have an actual animation set up, let's go into tile map. And let's select our tile that we're going to paint on, our animation tile. And I'm going to choose paint. Let me just drag this down a bit. And I'm just going to put one. Just one maybe here. It doesn't matter. And let's look at it. And zoom in a bit and look at it. And that's pretty slow. So let's go back to TileSet. And let's just raise the frames per second to maybe 5. And let's go back and see what it looks like now. And that looks much better. If I want to put multiple smoke points, we'll notice that they're all starting at the same time. If we want to change that, we go back to TileSet and change the default animation mode just underneath the speed to random start times. And if we drag this down a bit, we'll notice that we have random start times for each smoke event. Let's save this. Let's run it and see what it looks like. And that looks nice. So that's how we do the animations using sprite sheets in our TileMapLayers. Okay, this takes up a lot of CPU resources, so I'm just going to remove it. And this is one more thing I wanted to mention. You can probably look this up on your own, but I wanted to mention navigation layers. For example, if we know ground layer and we want to create a navigation layer, navigation layer is basically where some character that you created or some vehicle or something, it doesn't matter what it is, moves along that navigation layer alone. Navigation is a whole other topic. This is not the only way you can use navigation, but you can actually add navigation layers to any of the tiles that you want to here. Let's go into TileSet. Let's center this, and let's say we want to add navigation to these tiles here. We just select them and we click navigation layers on the right hand side in the inspector, and we add element, and we do the same thing, paint on a navigation layer just like we painted on the collision layer in the physics layers. And we click navigation layer. Let's move this up, and we'll notice a similar interface as when we were dealing with collision layers. And we just paint on a navigation layer like we did the collision layers. This is what we use for AI movement in your game. I'm just going to undo all of this because I'm not going to add navigation to this, but I just wanted to mention it. Later on we'll have to come back to this whenever we speak about navigation and AI navigation. Okay, so this more or less concludes what I wanted to talk about in TileMapLayers. I wanted to stop here. You can always play around and check out some of these other things here. Custom detail layers is a whole different story. And Tilesets is a whole other ball game as well. I'm not going to talk about that inside here as yet. That's better left for a more in-depth and advanced discussion. All in all, I hope you got some value in this video, and I hope to see you in the next one.